Hey, I'm Cheryl. Welcome to my channel. Today, I'm sharing with you how to make a no-sew gnome using mostly Dollar Tree items. Please hit that like button and subscribe to my channel because I have a bunch of fall creations I'm super excited to share with you. Now, let's go make a gnome. To make this gnome, here are some items that you're going to need. Some scissors, a mop head, 2 pairs of socks, some fill, small beads for the hands, a large bead for the nose, some rocks, string or yarn, and some little ponytail rubber bands, and last but not least, a glue gun. And some enhancements. Again, more beads, some jute twine, pails, signs, butterfly, flowers and leaves, and these cute little wood things from the Dollar Tree. The only thing you can't get from the Dollar Tree are these beads. I've heard people have seen them before, but I haven't. I get mine at either Michael's, Hobby Lobby, or I order them online. So we're going to start with the socks. Typically, I like to have the bottom sock or the body of the sock to be a certain color, white, black. These gray ones are one of my favorites. And these gray are from the Dollar Tree. And you're going to want to open that up, and you're going to want to put your rocks in there, dropping them all the way to the bottom. Some people use rice, some people use beads. I like to use rocks. So put a good handful in there so the gnome will be sturdy, and then you're ready to put polyfill. And just keep on putting it in there until you get the desired shape. You can have a short, fat gnome, or you can have a tall, thin gnome. And just make sure it's sturdy, and then it'll stand up straight. And notice that at the bottom. So that will be the front of the gnome. And now we're going to put one of those little ponytail rubber band things that you get at the Dollar Tree. And then we're going to tie it off with some yarn. And now we can cut off the excess. And make sure that you don't throw that out because we're going to use that later for the arms. Now we're ready to put the beard on the gnome. Take the mop head, and these strings pull out very easily. Pull out a bunch of them. Now we're going to take one and measure it from the top of the rubber band to almost the bottom of the sock. We're going to cut that out. And then we're going to measure 14 of them. So all total 14. 7 will go on one side of the sock, 7 will go on the other side of the sock. Now I run a string of hot glue just halfway and put 7 of them on there, and then do the other half with the other 7. When I'm done, I lift it up and I give it a really good glob of hot glue to make sure that they all are glued down and in place. Now we're going to use the other sock for the gnome's hat. And you always want the prettiest one to be the hat. And now we're going to take that put it on the gnome. You can scrunch it up to make it look like a rim and make sure that the heel is in the back of the gnome, and place the hat on. And now we're ready to put the bead on. I like to glue my bead right onto the mop strings. So I'm counting them. So there's 7 on one side and 7 on the other side. And we're going to put it right there in the middle, right on top. You don't want it separating on the sock because it will separate and then you'll be able to see underneath the beard. So I'm going to hot glue it straight like that. And then hot glue the cap or the sock hat on top of it. And if you get excess glue on that nose, which I do quite often, that little piece is from the Dollar Tree and it takes off the excess glue, but you want to get it off right away. So here's that sock, the remainder of the sock from the body. And you're going to cut off a pretty big piece. I want to say probably 3 inches or so. These are going to be the arms. So you kind of got to eyeball it, measure it, fold it in half. And go ahead and cut it. And you see I am taking one piece and folding it in half or inward on both sides. And then in half again. Now to me that looks too thick, too wide to be a hand, so I'm going to adjust it and make it a little bit smaller. And then you fold it up. And just like you're putting ketchup or mustard on a hot dog, squirt some hot glue in there. I like these little clips from the Dollar Tree to hold it while I'm doing the other end. And hot glue all that closed. And make sure you take off any excess glue. Now I did the other one already, and we're going to look at that, and we're going to want to put the jagged side more so into the hat for his arm. So the bottom piece is a little bit cleaner. I guess you could trim it if you wanted with scissors. And you kind of got to play around with this a little bit. I have that seam in the front there. You're going to want that seam to be on the side or in the back. Same thing with this one. Pick the nicer side for his hand. And that side would go up inside the hat. So put a big glob of glue inside the middle part there, and take one of those little beads there, those wooden beads, and see where the hole is in the bead. You're going to want to put it in sideways so we don't see the hole, and then kind of push it in without burning your hands and squeeze that. You may need to put excess glue in there, and that's okay. Same thing on the other side. And now that we have the hands in place and they're even, we're going to glue them down. I don't glue them down completely because I never know if I'm going to put a sign in the gnome's hand or have the gnome holding something, or if I put the hands together, I don't know. So I only glue a little bit on top. And this is what he looks like so far. He's a little messy there, but don't worry about it. We're gonna trim them all up at the end. Now this ribbon is from the Dollar Tree. It's one of my favorites. I use a lot of this. And we're going to just put like a cuff, or yeah, a cuff, I guess you would call it, around his little hand there. And this is really tedious, and you kind of got to work with it a little bit. It takes a while. And so I just did it without recording it. And that's what it looks like. And now we're gonna go to the back and glue his hat down. You're gonna pull it down as far as you can. And make sure it sticks well. And then you're going to want to glue the hat all over. Now we're going to take that ribbon again and we're going to put it around the hat. You can put it in the middle, or closer to the edge, or up above, however you prefer. I like it in the middle for this gnome. And you're going to start in the back and right in the middle. And we're just going to glue it all the way around. I usually don't glue it by the nose until the very end, because I don't want to get glue on that nose, or extra glue. And this is what he looks like so far. Still a little messy, but not to worry, we'll clean him up. Now's the fun part, the embellishments. You could put real flowers, these wood leaves, anything you want. I'm going to tie some jute here because I'm going to put some beads on that jute. And the best way to put beads on that jute there, where it picks them out, is to take some tape and tape off the end. Because trying to put that jute in a small bead is almost impossible, because the end of the jute is frayed. And just clip off the excess tape, and I give it a good twist. And I clip off the top of that tape too. You don't see it, it's a little out of screen. And I'll show you how easy it is to slip it right into the bead. See, it pops right on. So I'm going to string the rest of these real quick. And some of those beads are still difficult to get on, the real tiny ones. So this handy dandy little poker from the Dollar Tree, I just put it in the hole of the bead, and I try to get all that excess wood that's on the inside of the bead out. I try to clean it out. Be careful, because yes, I have poked that into my finger, into my thumb, and it really hurts, obviously. And now we can put the beads on the end. And there I did it without filming it, because it would take too long, and you don't need to see me bead the jute. Glue the hat down to the side. And hold that for quite a while so it doesn't pull apart. And now I'm going to make a little bow because I think that leaf looks plain there. And I'm just going to hot glue it into the bottom of the leaf. No reason, just I thought it would add some interest. And then I thought maybe I'd put another leaf on a leaf. I don't know why. Maybe I was thinking I needed some color. But you could put a flower there or whatever you want. And I think instead of putting that sign in his hand that is on the right side, I think I'm going to put that bucket with some flowers and berries. I'm going to glue it right onto his hand. I put the moss in the bucket and these little flowers and berries from the Dollar Tree, and I did hot glue all that stuff in. And this little sign here comes from the Dollar Tree, 4 to a pack. And this little white paint pen, I wrote flowers 5 cents, and then I tried to make a flower and it doesn't look so good. But that's okay. Gnomes aren't perfect. And maybe the gnome writes like that, sloppy. And so I'm going to glue that right onto his little hand and let it dry for a good 15 minutes because you don't want that to pop off. And then last but not least, we're going to unravel all of his mop pieces for his beard. This takes a while. And as you're unwrapping, there will be little white fuzzies everywhere, and just pick them off, throw them away. And this honestly is what makes the gnome. And here's what it looks like at the end. Thank you for watching, and please don't forget to subscribe.